Hi, my name is Jodi, and I'm here to tell you about how I was able to fundraise to go to the Kalahari with Jon Young and Nicole Apelian in 2011 and get to spend time with the Kalahari Bushmen. It was amazing. So in May of 2010, I watched Jon Young give a presentation in my community about his experiences and show photos and tell stories of his time down in the Kalahari with Nicole Apelian just a month before. And I knew I wanted to go and have that experience for myself, but the trip costs like half as much as my annual salary, and I knew I wouldn't be able to afford it, so I kind of blew it off for about 6 months. And then, December, January rolled around, and I saw the email saying that the trip was coming up in just a couple months, and that fire ignited within me again, and I told a friend that I really wanted to go, and she heard me explain why, and for some reason it made sense to her to continue that conversation, so we did, and she agreed to support me if I chose to fundraise for that trip, and she even offered to put in the first $500 if I followed through with the plan that we created together. So what I'm going to describe to you in the next few minutes is that plan and how I was able to raise money to go to the Kalahari in 6 weeks, and some tips for organizing your strategies and how you can create a clear way of communicating the reasons why the trip is important to you and how you'll be able to use it to serve yourself and your community upon return. So here goes. So I've been mentored by Jon Young for a long time and understand and follow the idea of the 5 sacred questions, and asking yourself, like, what did I just observe, and how is this revealing something new to me? What is it teaching me? How is this helping me, and how is this helping me to help others? And when I thought about what I was observing within myself was that I really had this deep desire to learn from the Kalahari Bushmen and what they represented to me in my work in my community of nature connection mentoring. And after watching Jon's video, I learned that, this is information that my community needs more of, and if I can some way be the messenger to bring that, it would both fulfill my own personal desire to learn and also be able to share these ancient ways of living with my community. So I put some of those thoughts down on paper and wrote a draft to my friend who coordinated that first $500 gift, and wrote an email and sent it out to the Earth Roots Field School community. That's the community that I am a director for, Earth Roots Field School nonprofit. So I sent out a first email and got a great response from some people who offered to pledge and then also just immediately sent in money. And in the first 2 weeks, we had raised a couple of $1,000s already. And, I wasn't really sure that the strategy was going to work, and that was extremely positive and helpful in giving me confidence to keep pursuing the fundraising goals. So the conversations between my friends and family started to solidify more about what it meant to me to go, and I started journaling more about what I wanted to learn and researching more about the Bushmen and about Botswana, and learning about what the ecological, areas are like and what animals are there and birds and plants, and finding out from people that they had interest in those things or had been to Africa and wanted to tell me their stories. And the more personal attention and connection I had with people about my vision, the more likely they were to help support my vision. So I began conversations with just about everyone I knew, and even some people I didn't know, but who found my email online and looked at the Earth Roots website to learn more about my goals to go to Kalahari. So after the first couple of weeks when we had our initial $2,000 raised, I sent out another email to our community updating the amount we had reached and the goal amount that we had still yet to raise, and created incentives so that people who gave at each different giving level would receive some kind of acknowledgement or gift. And they ranged from just a few dollars. I'd give people some seed packets of seeds that I'd harvested, For $75, I would bring back a handmade gift from people who we met in the Kalahari Desert. And for gifts onwards of a few hundred or $1,000, I would give a personal presentation at their house with their group of friends and family upon my return. And we didn't set dates yet or talk about any details for it, but just that I knew I would come back and give a story and share my experiences when I was ready to do that. And people were pretty excited, and I asked everyone who contributed to my fundraiser to send me also a question that they had for the people who I was going to meet in the Kalahari. And that was something that Jon suggested for me and was really helpful. It really helped create a bridge of connection between me and my friends and family back at home. And I wrote down those questions. I think I had 19 questions that I carried with me. Everything from, what color are the flowers in the Kalahari Desert, to what is the most important thing you teach your children. These questions ranged the whole gamut and were an incredible opening for the people in my group when we were actually in the Kalahari to ask the Bushmen these questions through our translator. And then upon my return, I invited everyone who contributed to the fundraiser over to my home, and we had a potluck dinner, and I showed some photos and told stories and answered those questions for everyone who was there. It was a really beautiful experience. I highly recommend that point of bringing questions and answering them upon your return. And the follow-through with the fundraising had to be consistent in order for it to work, and I realized that. And so with people who had told me that they were interested in fundraising but I hadn't received any checks from them, I called them a couple weeks before I left and asked if they would still be interested in supporting my trip, and I let them know how much I had raised up till then and followed through with personal emails and phone calls and just showed my gratitude in any way I could for their gift, knowing that they were just sending me out into the world to learn something and bring it back and share, and there was no expectation really about what they would receive other than the gift that they had on the list.